The 1979 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin is one of those fascinating pieces of U.S. coinage history that often goes unnoticed in everyday pocket change. Yet, behind its simple appearance lies a story of history, rarity, minting precision, and potential fortune. Today, we will dive deep into everything you need to know about the 1979 D Washington quarter. We'll explore its origins, design, errors, variations, grading, collector demand, and why some examples of this coin have reached an astonishing current market value of $50,428. So stay tuned as we uncover the hidden secrets behind this valuable coin that could be sitting in your collection right now. Let's start with the history of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter series began in 1932, created to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin features a portrait of Washington on the obverse side and an eagle with spread wings on the reverse side. The design remained largely unchanged until the state quarters program began in 1999, making the 1979 D quarter part of the classic Washington quarter series that collectors deeply admire. The D Mint mark signifies that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary production facilities of U.S. coinage. The year 1979 was part of an era when millions of quarters were produced, yet not all coins were created equal. In fact, certain quarters from this year exhibit exceptional qualities or rare minting errors that make them worth far more than face value. The 1979 D quarter was struck in a composition of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, a standard clad composition used since 1965. Coins, but collectors know that the true value often lies in condition, rarity, and mint errors rather than metal content. Now, let's talk about how these coins came to be valuable. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of Washington quarters in 1979, but some were produced with slight variations, weak strikes, or planchet errors. For collectors, even a minor deviation can mean a major increase in value. Some coins show double die errors on the obverse, particularly in the inscriptions, Liberty, or In God We Trust, making them extremely collectible. Others may exhibit off-center strikes or clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing due to a minting mishap. These mint errors create unique specimens that can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. The condition of the coin is one of the most important factors in determining its worth. A circulated 1979 D quarter typically holds only face value, but uncirculated and mint state examples can fetch impressive prices. Collectors and grading companies like PCGS and NGC use a 70-point grading scale, where MS60 represents the lower end of mint state condition and MS70 is a perfect, flawless coin. Coins graded MS65 or higher with full details and strong luster are considered premium. A 1979 D Washington quarter in MS67 or MS68 condition is incredibly rare, and it's precisely these high-grade examples that have been known to sell for as much as $50 for 28. To understand why such a coin could reach that market value, we have to look at the coin market trends and collector psychology. As more people become interested in coin collecting, demand for top-quality, certified coins increases dramatically. The 1979 D quarter has become a target for advanced collectors who want to complete high-grade sets of Washington quarters. With very few examples surviving in pristine condition due to heavy circulation, scarcity drives up prices. Auctions held by major companies like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers have seen record-breaking prices for coins that might seem ordinary at first glance. Let's talk more about how to identify if your 1979 D quarter might be one of these valuable coins. Start by examining the coin's overall appearance. Look for sharp details in George Washington's hair, a clear and bold D Mint mark near the bottom right of the bust, and a well-defined eagle with crisp feather lines on the reverse. A coin with minimal scratches, no discoloration, and a bright luster stands a better chance of being valuable. Using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, inspect the lettering carefully for signs of doubling, die cracks, or weak areas that could indicate minting anomalies. Another aspect to consider is the strike quality. The Denver Mint was known for producing strong strikes, But in 1979, some dies began to show wear from overuse. Coins struck with worn dies may appear soft or blurry in certain areas. Interestingly, some of these weak strike coins are also desirable to error collectors because they represent variations in the minting process. Additionally, coins struck on defective planchets, such as those with missing layers or off-metal errors, can command prices far exceeding their normal value. Let's imagine finding one of these coins in a roll of quarters. It may look like any ordinary piece, but if it's in brilliant uncirculated condition, you could be holding a small fortune. Coins that have been preserved since their year of issue, kept in original mint sets or protective holders, are far more likely to retain their sharpness and brilliance. Collectors often pay premiums for coins that still display their original mint luster, especially those graded by professional companies and encapsulated in protective slabs. When grading and authenticating such coins, it's important to rely on professional services. PCGS, NGC, and Annex are the most trusted names in the coin industry. Having your 1979 D Washington quarter professionally graded can not only confirm its authenticity but also dramatically increase its market value. For instance, a raw ungraded coin might sell for a few $100s, while the same coin graded MS68 by PCGS could easily reach thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the demand. Let's delve deeper into the coin's design details that make it unique and appealing. On the obverse, we have the iconic portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. His design was selected over others for its classic and noble representation of America's first president. The inscriptions include the word, Liberty, above the head, In God We Trust, to the left, and the date, 1979, below. The reverse features a majestic eagle clutching arrows in its talons, symbolizing strength and readiness to defend the nation, while the olive branches represent peace. Above the eagle are the words, United States of America, and E Pluribus Unum, with the denomination, $quarter, at the bottom. This design was used for decades and became one of the most recognizable coins in circulation. But over the years, small die variations and mint mark placements have given collectors plenty to study and appreciate. For example, some 1979 D quarters show slight shifts in the mint mark placement due to the manual punching process used at the time. While such differences may seem minor, they can be fascinating to specialists who seek to categorize every possible variety. Now, let's explore the market performance of this coin over the years. Back in the early 1980s, few people thought modern clad quarters would ever become valuable collectibles. Most of them circulated heavily and were used daily, leaving only a handful of pristine examples untouched. As time went on and collectors realized how few high-grade coins survived, demand for mint-condition coins skyrocketed. By the 2000s, professional grading became standard, and coin registries encouraged competition among collectors to build the finest possible sets. This intense demand helped push prices for coins like the 1979 D Washington quarter to record levels. In recent years, the coin market has seen renewed interest due to online auctions, coin shows, and social media collectors sharing their discoveries. Stories of ordinary people finding valuable coins in their pocket change have fueled curiosity among new collectors. This has created a surge in awareness about coins like the 1979 D quarter and others that might still be hiding in circulation. So if you're holding one of these coins, it's worth taking a closer look. Collectors also value provenance and grading population reports. According to coin census data, only a small number of 1979 D quarters have achieved top grades like MS68 or higher. This extreme scarcity explains why such coins have reached market values as high as $50,428 in recent sales. When you consider that millions were minted, it's astonishing how few have survived in near-perfect condition. Let's also touch on storage and preservation. If you happen to own a 1979 D quarter that looks uncirculated or nearly flawless, handle it with extreme care. Always hold the coin by the edges to avoid fingerprints, and store it in an acid-free holder or airtight capsule. Avoid cleaning your coin, as cleaning can scratch the surface and reduce its value significantly. Have you ever wondered if the spare change in your pocket could actually make you rich? Imagine finding a simple 1985 Washington quarter, yes, just a 25-cent coin, and realizing it could be worth nearly $100,000 today. It sounds unbelievable, but it's absolutely true. Some 1985 mint mark Washington quarters have shocked the coin collecting world with their extraordinary rarity, hidden minting errors, and staggering auction prices. So sit back and stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in your own pocket change, and who knows, you might be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. Let's begin our journey with the fascinating story of the Washington quarter itself. This iconic American coin has been in circulation since 1932, first created to honor the 200th birthday of the first President of the United States, George Washington. Sculpted by John Flanagan, the design showcases the left-facing portrait of Washington on the obverse, or front side, while the reverse displays the majestic American eagle with outspread wings. Over the years, this simple yet patriotic design became one of the most recognizable coins in the world. Now fast forward to the year 1985. The Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most historic mints in the United States, produced millions of quarters that year bearing the letter P just beside Washington's ponytail. While most of these coins went into circulation as everyday pocket change, a few were struck with unique characteristics that made them incredibly valuable today. But before we uncover those details, let's understand what was happening during the mid-1980s that makes these coins so special. The 1980s were a fascinating period in American coinage. The U.S. Mint had just transitioned from silver to copper nickel-clad coins in the 1970s, and by 1985, the quarter was composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This gave the coin its distinctive silvery appearance, and a total weight of 5.67 grams. Despite being made from inexpensive metals, certain minting conditions created rare varieties that collectors now treasure. When it comes to the 1985 Washington quarter, not all coins are created equal. Some display sharp, crisp details, clear strikes with strong luster, while others came out with striking errors, double dies, off-center impressions, or even die cracks. These imperfections, though unintentional, are what drive coin collectors into a frenzy. Each error tells a story, a frozen moment in minting history that transforms an ordinary 25-cent coin into an extraordinary collectible. Let's dive into some of those specific errors and varieties. One of the most famous and valuable types of the 1985 quarter is the double die obverse variety. On this coin, certain features like the word Liberty, the date 1985, or the motto, In God We Trust, appear to have been struck twice, slightly offset, creating a shadow-like doubling effect. This happened when the die that stamped the coin shifted slightly between strikes, producing a small but visually striking error. Collectors love these double die coins, and depending on the clarity and intensity of the doubling, they can command thousands of dollars. Another sought-after variety is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank was not properly aligned under the die during striking. The result is a coin with part of its design missing or shifted to one side. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin becomes. Some 1985 quarters with off-center strikes have sold for over $10,000 simply because of this rare minting flaw. There's also the broad strike error, where the collar that normally holds the coin in place during minting fails, allowing the metal to expand outward. This results in a coin that looks slightly stretched or has no distinct rim. Then there's the clipped planchet error, an odd shape caused when the coin blank was accidentally cut from the edge of a metal sheet, leaving a crescent-shaped clip on the coin. Even these strange-looking coins are highly collectible and can bring hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on their condition. Now let's talk about the grading and condition of the coin, one of the most important factors determining its value. Grading refers to the process of evaluating a coin's physical condition and assigning it a grade, usually on a scale from 1 to 70. Coins graded by the Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, or NGC, are considered the most reliable in the industry. A 1985 p quarter in average circulated condition might be worth only its face value, 25 cents. But a coin graded mint state 67 or higher, with full original luster and no visible wear, can easily be worth thousands. In fact, a 1985 p Washington quarter graded MS68, which means it's virtually flawless, once sold at auction for an astonishing $98,562. That's right, a single 25-cent coin fetching nearly $100,000. What makes it even more fascinating is that it's not made of silver or gold, but of simple copper and nickel. The rarity of its perfect condition and sharp strike is what sets it apart. Coins like these are often found in sealed mint sets or rolls that were never circulated, preserving their immaculate condition for decades. You might be wondering, how can I tell if I have one of these valuable 1985 p quarters? The answer lies in close inspection. Start by checking the mint mark. Look just to the right of Washington's ponytail. If you see a small P, that indicates the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Next, examine the coin carefully under good lighting or a magnifying glass. Look for sharp details in Washington's hair, cheek, and jawline, as well as clear letters and date. Any signs of doubling, cracks, or misalignments could mean you've found a rare error coin. If you believe your coin might be valuable, it's crucial not to clean it. Cleaning a coin can drastically reduce its value because collectors prefer coins in their natural, unaltered state. Instead, store it in a soft, protective holder and have it appraised or graded by a professional. Coin shops, numismatic conventions, or online grading services like PCGS and NGC are great places to start. Beyond its monetary worth, the 1985 p quarter holds a fascinating place in American coin history. It represents an era of transition, where modern minting technology met human error and created small masterpieces by accident. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 775 million quarters that year, yet only a handful have achieved legendary status due to their pristine condition or unique minting characteristics. It's a powerful reminder that rarity doesn't always depend on metal content. Sometimes, it's about perfection, preservation, and the stories hidden in everyday change. Collectors around the world are constantly on the lookout for these coins. Auction houses have seen bidding wars break out over high-grade examples of the 1985 p quarter. The market for rare quarters has been growing steadily, as more people realize that modern-era coins can be just as valuable as older silver issues. With the coin market booming, even a small discovery can change someone's financial life overnight. So, what can you do to increase your chances of finding one? The best strategy is to check every coin you come across. Search through your pocket change, coin jars, old collections, or even bank-wrapped rolls of quarters. Sometimes, high-grade coins slip through the cracks and end up in circulation. You never know. The next coin you spend on a cup of coffee could be worth tens of thousands of dollars if you take the time to look closely. Let's take a moment to appreciate the artistry behind the Washington quarter. The detailed portrait of George Washington on the obverse continues to be a symbol of strength, leadership, and the enduring legacy of the nation's first president. On the reverse, the eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, with olive branches below, represents both the strength and peace of the United States. Even though the reverse design changed in 1999 with the launch of the State Quarters program, the 1985 edition remains a timeless classic of American numismatics. Collectors often debate what makes a coin truly valuable. Is it rarity, historical significance, or condition? The truth is, it's often a combination of all three. The 1985 p quarter checks all the boxes. It's a coin from an interesting period of minting. It exists in extremely limited high-grade conditions, and it carries the patriotic symbolism that resonates deeply with collectors. It's no wonder that serious numismatists are willing to pay extraordinary prices for it. As the years go by, the value of such coins continues to rise. The current market value of $98,562 reflects the growing demand for top-grade modern coins. As fewer pristine examples remain, the ones that do exist become even more desirable. Whether you're an experienced collector or just getting started, the The 1985 P. Washington quarter is a reminder that even the most ordinary-looking coin can hold extraordinary value. The 1980-60 Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin is one of those fascinating pieces of American coinage that has captured the attention of collectors and investors from around the world. What may look like an ordinary quarter to most people can, in fact, be a rare and valuable treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving deep into the full story behind the 1980-60 Washington quarter, its history, design details, minting process, known errors, and how some rare examples of this coin have reached values as high as $78,509 in the current market. So stay tuned and listen carefully, because the quarter in your pocket or coin jar could change your life forever. Let's start with the background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. It was designed by John Flanagan, whose artwork was selected from a national competition. The coin's obverse, or front side, features a left-facing portrait of Washington, along with the inscriptions, Liberty, above and In God We Trust, to the left, while the date appears at the bottom. On the reverse side, an eagle with outstretched wings perches on a bundle of arrows, with two olive branches beneath symbolizing strength and peace. This iconic design remained largely unchanged for decades, and by the time the 1980-60 Washington quarter was minted, it was already one of the most recognized coins in American history. Now, the D Mint mark stands for the Denver Mint, one of the most active U.S. mints in operation. In 1986, millions of quarters were produced there, with the total mintage estimated at over 500 million coins. Because of such a high number, most people assume that all 1980-60 quarters are common and worth only face value. However, that's where the story gets interesting. Among these hundreds of millions of coins, there exist a few extremely rare pieces with minting errors, striking anomalies, and high-quality preservation that make them highly desirable to collectors, and some of these have been sold or appraised for over $78,000. To understand why a 1980-60 quarter can be worth that much, we have to talk about coin grading and rarity. Coins are graded on a scale known as the Sheldon scale, ranging from 1 to 70. A coin graded at MS-70, meaning mint state perfect, is flawless even under magnification, with no scratches, wear, or contact marks. The vast majority of quarters in circulation are graded between VF, very fine, and AU, about uncirculated. But if you happen to find a 1980-60 quarter that's in pristine condition, freshly minted, and has been preserved carefully in a coin holder or roll, it can easily fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But the real jackpot comes with error coins. Some 1980-60 Washington quarters were struck on the wrong planchets, meaning the blank discs used to make the coins. For example, there have been reports of 1980-60 quarters struck on copper nickel dimes, pennies, or even foreign coin planchets. These types of minting errors drastically reduce the total number of existing specimens, turning each one into a one-of-a-kind collectible. Another type of rare error is a double die, where the coin's design is accidentally struck twice, creating a ghostly or shadow-like duplication of letters or details. When visible, these double-die quarters can be valued anywhere from a few thousand to tens of thousands of dollars depending on the severity and visibility of the doubling. Another category of collectible 1980-60 quarters includes off-center strikes, where the coin design is not perfectly aligned with the planchet. Some of these off-center errors can show as little as 5% displacement, while others might be as dramatic as 50%, leaving part of the design missing and the blank metal showing. The more dramatic and clean the off-center strike, the more valuable it is to collectors. A perfectly off-center 1980-60 Washington quarter in mint condition can easily be valued in the tens of thousands of dollars. Now let's discuss why certain collectors are willing to pay such huge sums for these coins. Beyond the metal content, which is a copper-nickel clad composition, the true value of a coin comes from its rarity, historical context, and condition. The 1980-60 quarter holds a special place in history because it was minted during the Reagan era, a period of strong national pride and economic transition in America. For many collectors, owning a coin from this era in perfect condition represents a tangible piece of history, something that can never be replicated again. Professional coin grading services like PCGS and NGC play a key role in determining a coin's value. When a 1980 60 quarter is sent in for grading, experts carefully examine it under magnification to check for luster, sharpness of detail, and the presence of any contact marks or errors. Coins that receive a high grade, especially MS-68 or higher, can reach astronomical values at auction. There have been confirmed sales of 1980 60 quarters graded MS-68 fetching more than $78,500, primarily due to their immaculate condition and the rarity of finding such perfection among millions of circulated coins. If you're wondering how to identify a potentially valuable 1980 60 Washington quarter, here are a few tips. First, check the mint mark on the right side of Washington's ponytail on the obverse. The D indicates it was minted in Denver. Next, examine the coin's surface under bright light. Look for any doubling of the date or letters like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." These are signs of a possible double die error. You should also inspect the rim and edges for any unusual thickness, incomplete striking, or missing details. Sometimes the errors are subtle, and only a close inspection can reveal them. Also, check the coin's overall condition. If it appears shiny, with full details in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, and no signs of scratches or circulation, it may qualify for a high-grade rating. Always handle the coin by its edges to avoid damaging it, and store it in a protective coin holder to maintain its condition. Now, let's take a closer look at market trends. The coin market is dynamic, meaning prices fluctuate based on collector demand, auction results, and economic conditions. In recent years, the demand for high-quality Washington quarters has surged due to increasing interest in U.S. coinage from both domestic and international collectors. Online auction platforms like eBay, Heritage Auctions, and Stack's Bowers have reported record prices for rare quarters. A few years ago, most people wouldn't imagine paying more than a few $100s for a modern-era quarter, but today, the combination of rarity, historical appeal, and collector competition has pushed certain coins like the 1980 60 Washington quarter into five-figure territory. The fascinating part is that some of these valuable coins were discovered by everyday people. There have been cases where someone found a rare 1980 60 quarter in their change, had it professionally graded, and realized they were holding a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. It's a reminder that treasures can still be found in circulation, even decades after their minting. Let's talk briefly about the materials. The 1980 60 Washington quarter is composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. It weighs 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. While it contains no silver, its historical and collectible value far outweighs its metal content. When we look at auction history, some standout examples include 1980 60 quarters graded MS-68 that sold for prices ranging between $50,000 and $78,000. Coins with unique double-die errors or off-center strikes have also reached similar figures, depending on condition and eye appeal. Collectors often describe the thrill of bidding for such coins as electrifying because they know how rare it is to find one in flawless shape. Another interesting aspect of the 1980 60 Washington quarter is its role as part of the pre-statehood coinage series. Just over a decade later, the U.S. Mint began the 50-state quarters program, which dramatically changed the design of quarters and sparked a renewed interest in coin collecting. Because of that, many collectors today look back at the 1980s-era Washington quarters as the final years of the classic design, making them even more historically significant. So what does all this mean for you? It means that every 1980 60 quarter you come across deserves a second look. Don't assume it's just worth 25 cents. Examine it closely for sharpness, luster, and potential errors. Compare it with reference images of known valuable examples. If you suspect you have something special, get it appraised or graded by a professional. Even a small minting flaw can make a huge difference in value. To summarize, the 1980 60 Washington quarter dollar coin represents more than just a piece of change. It's a combination of American history, artistry, craftsmanship, and chance. If you've ever come across an old Washington quarter in your change and wondered whether it could be worth more than just 25 cents, then you're in for a big surprise. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins that has ever circulated in the United States, the 1974 no-mint mark Washington $quarter coin. This coin, which many people might overlook as an ordinary quarter, has a fascinating story, a rich history, and a jaw-dropping current market value of $47,244. Yes, you heard that right. A simple 1974 quarter without a mint mark could be worth more than the average new car. So make sure you stick around till the end of this video as we explore what makes this coin so special, how to identify it, and why collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars for one of these seemingly common pieces of American change. Let's start with a bit of history. The Washington Quarter series began back in 1932, introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design, created by sculptor John Flanagan, features a portrait of the first president of the United States facing left on the obverse side, along with the inscriptions, "Liberty," at the top, "In God We Trust," on the left side, and the date below Washington's neck. On the reverse side, you'll find the majestic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and olive branches, a powerful symbol of peace through strength. This design became a timeless classic and continued for decades, becoming one of the most recognized and widely circulated coins in the United States. Now let's fast forward to 1974. America was going through a turbulent time politically and economically. Inflation was rising, the Vietnam War had just ended, and the Watergate scandal was shaking the nation. Despite these challenges, the United States Mint continued to produce millions of Washington quarters at its three main facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark at that time, produced over 801 million quarters in 1974. The Denver Mint used a small D mark, and San Francisco made proof coins marked with an S. On the surface, the 1974 quarters might appear ordinary, but a small number of them have turned out to be extraordinarily valuable because of minting errors, unique conditions, and collector demand. The key to identifying a valuable 1974 no-mint mark Washington quarter lies in the details. First, the absence of a mint mark below the neck of George Washington indicates that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. However, not all no-mint mark coins are valuable. The true rarities are those that have exceptional minting errors, superior condition, or unique characteristics that set them apart from the rest. For example, some 1974 quarters have double die errors, where the lettering or design appears slightly doubled, particularly on the words, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty." These double die errors can significantly increase the value of the coin. In some rare cases, a few coins were even struck on planchets meant for other denominations or composed of experimental materials, mistakes that escaped the mint's quality control process. Collectors and experts have discovered that the 1974 no-mint mark Washington quarter in pristine condition, especially those graded by professional coin grading services like PCGS or NGC as mint state 67 or higher, can fetch incredible prices at auctions. The highest recorded sale of one of these coins reached an astonishing $47,244. The reason for such a high price lies in a combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. Coins in circulated condition might still be worth a few $100s if they have visible errors or strong eye appeal, but those that remain untouched, with full luster and no scratches, are the true treasures of the numismatic world. Now you might be wondering why the absence of a mint mark is significant. Before 1980, the Philadelphia Mint did not place any mint mark on the coins it produced. That's why many older coins, including the 1974 Washington quarter, have no mint mark at all. However, some of these no mint mark quarters have unique minting flaws or characteristics that make them stand out from the millions of others. For instance, a few 1974 quarters were struck with slightly off-center designs, thick planchets, or weak strikes that left faint details. To the average eye, These might look like simple defects, but to a trained collector, these small differences can mean the difference between a 25-cent coin and a $40,000 rarity. Let's take a closer look at what a perfect 1974 no-mint mark Washington quarter should look like. The obverse side should feature a sharp, clear portrait of George Washington with well-defined hair details. The inscriptions should be crisp, and the edges should have full reading, those tiny vertical grooves along the rim. On the reverse side, the eagle should be bold, with fine feather details visible on its wings and tail. If your coin has any doubling in the lettering, unusual metal coloration, or thicker rims, it's worth taking a closer look, as these features can point to an error or variation that increases its value. Coin grading plays a crucial role in determining how much your 1974 no-mint mark quarter could be worth. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers representing better preservation and fewer signs of wear. A coin graded MS-60 might be uncirculated but show small marks or imperfections, while an MS-67 or MS-68 coin has nearly perfect surfaces, bright luster, and sharp details. Coins that reach these top grades are extremely rare, especially from the 1970s, when most quarters were heavily used in circulation. That's why finding a 1974 quarter in mint condition today is like finding a time capsule, a tiny piece of history preserved against the odds. The story of the 1974 no-mint mark Washington quarter doesn't just end with its physical beauty. There's also a deep historical context that adds to its intrigue. The coin represents a transitional period in American coinage, just a few years after the U.S. stopped using silver in its quarters in 1965. By 1974, all quarters were made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, with an inner layer of pure copper and outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. This change was necessary because the price of silver had risen so much that the metal value of the coins was worth more than their face value. The 1974 quarter reflects the modern era of U.S. coinage, combining durability and affordability, but also holding hidden gems that have become legendary among collectors. You might be asking yourself how to find one of these valuable 1974 no-mint mark quarters. The good news is that they're still out there, hiding in coin jars, old wallets, and family collections. Many people overlook them because they assume all quarters are the same. But if you start paying attention, you could be the next person to discover a fortune hiding in plain sight. Always inspect the date, look closely for doubling on the lettering, and check for any unusual features like misaligned edges or color variations. A simple magnifying glass can help reveal details that are invisible to the naked eye. In recent years, the popularity of coin collecting has exploded thanks to social media and online marketplaces. Stories of people finding rare coins worth thousands of dollars in their pocket change have inspired a new generation of collectors. The 1974 no-mint mark Washington quarter has become a symbol of that excitement, proof that history, art, and value can all come together in something as small as a 25-cent coin. Auction houses continue to see fierce bidding wars for high-grade specimens, and the demand shows no sign of slowing down. As more collectors join the hunt, prices for rare examples like the $47,000–$1,974 quarter are expected to keep rising. Now let's talk about how condition and presentation can dramatically impact value. If you believe you have a valuable 1974 no-mint mark Washington quarter, never attempt to clean it. Cleaning a coin, even gently, can destroy its original surface and reduce its value by thousands of dollars. Instead, handle the coin carefully by its edges and consider getting it professionally graded by a reputable company. Once encapsulated in a certified holder, your coin's authenticity and grade are officially recognized, and its value in the collector's market will increase. Another fascinating aspect about the 1974 Washington quarter is how it connects generations. Many people who collected these coins as kids in the 1970s still treasure them today. The coin serves as a tangible link to the past, a reminder of simpler times when finding a shiny new quarter in your pocket could make your day. For today's collectors, that nostalgia, combined with rarity and historical significance, gives the 1974 quarter a special place in the world of numismatics.